CBS 6 reports news, but it's not news tailored for one person or group. It's for him, her, them, you, and me. CBS 6 News is for all. Your voice, your community.
This is supposed to be a joyous day when our kids walk the stage and get their diploma.
Incredibly tragic that someone decided to bring a gun to this incident and rain terror on our community.
I'm tired of seeing people get shot.
Is nothing sacred any longer? Is nothing sacred any longer?
We've arrived in a place where this world is upside down.
When do we say enough is enough? When do we say that? How many more people have to die?
Our kids can't take it, our teachers can't take it, our families can't take it anymore. I beg of you to stop.
It is a story making headlines across the country tonight. 2 people killed, 10 wounded after a shooting outside of a high school graduation ceremony in Richmond. Good evening, I'm Julie Bragg.
And I'm Bill Fitzgerald. We have complete coverage tonight. We have the latest details from police, and we'll tell you how local and state leaders are responding in the wake of this tragedy. We start tonight with Crime Insider John Burkett, who's been on scene all evening talking to his exclusive sources. John?
Well, Bill, Acting Police Chief Rick Edwards telling us tonight that the detectives believe the 19-year-old suspect in Graduate who was shot to death outside the Altria Theater this afternoon did know each other. Here's video of a man's car being towed for evidence. That man was detained and questioned about the shooting, but Acting Chief Edwards telling us at a 9 p.m. news conference they do not believe the man that drove that car was involved. He was released. My Crime Insider sources telling me the 18-year-old victim was also related to the 36-year-old man shot and killed and may even have ties to the 9-year-old girl that police say was hit by a car outside the theater in the chaos to escape the shots being fired. In all, 12 people injured, 7 by gunfire, 2 of those dead. Right now, the lone suspect has been charged, according to the acting chief, with 2 counts of murder, and other charges are pending. RPD Major Crimes in the early stages of the investigation. Of course, the campus, the VCU campus, has a large number of surveillance cameras. My sources telling me detectives will be reviewing evidence, especially from that corner of Laurel and Main Street, right outside the Altria Theater. That is where the incident took place, and that is where my colleague Maggie Marshall picks up coverage. She has been there outside the theater this afternoon.
Yeah, John, we really heard from Richmond Police Chief Rick Edwards just a little while ago, and he said this is a day that they have been planning for, but a day that they prayed would never come. He really, in that press conference, gave us some insight into the impact of those people directly impacted by the shooting. In total, he says that 7 total people were shot.
This is the first time I'd seen that many students.
I hope we don't forget it.
No one really knows how to go about this normally.
So this kind of grief is not going to go away overnight.
For hours, we had to process a crime scene.
Chris got up. He was like, "You guys are always messing with me."
To let people know what we knew.
I couldn't believe it was my son.
To let them know that their young people are okay.
He said some people was picking on him. He didn't know how to handle it.
We just received information the suspect is in custody. Just need a moment to thank God.
I'm sorry on his behalf.
Our hearts are still grieving. It's very emotional.
It's going to take a community to heal. The families will never get over this.
I see. 1 year ago today, 3 University of Virginia football players were killed in a mass shooting on the Charlottesville campus. Good evening and welcome to CBS 6 News at 6. I'm Janine Samuels.
And I'm Bill Fitzgerald, anchoring our coverage outside Scott Stadium tonight. 1 year ago, Lavelle Davis Jr., Devin Chandler, and Deshaun Perry were shot and killed after returning to grounds from a class field trip. Here at Scott Stadium, members of the community have been coming together all day to honor those lives with a touching memorial that is actually growing by the minute. Shortly before 1 this afternoon, hundreds gathered outside the university chapel near the famous rotunda. The bells first rang a verse from the hymn Amazing Grace, then tolled 3 times in memory of the players who were killed. Several family members and teammates of the victims could be seen entering the chapel before the music began. Later, Mike Hollins, the UVA running back who survived that shooting, emerged from the building and embraced a group of loved ones. We also heard from one victim's mother today. Melissa Hippolyte joins us now live right by the rotunda. What happened in the hours leading up to Ivo Otieno's death?
Mental illness should not be your ticket to death. All systems failed him.
So many different voices need to be brought into the conversation.
We have investigated.
He shouldn't be on that floor.
The family and the community deserves answers.
The footage should tell us a lot of what we need to know.
You see our reporters reaching out to their sources, bringing in other elements, but there's so much more to this story. We need to find the answers. The sheriff's deputies involved in the incident were in court today on second-degree murder charges. We start our team coverage with senior reporter Wayne Koval to break down what happened inside the courtroom today and the evidence being considered. Some of the details Wayne learned you might find disturbing. Wayne?
Well, Bill, as family members of the jail, deputies walked out of Dinwiddie Courthouse this morning after seeing their loved ones on a courtroom video screen. 2 of those 7 deputies in jail learned that they had made bond and would be getting out from behind bars.
They were inside the hospital when shots were fired.
One man is in police custody after a shooting at VCU Medical Center.
No patients were at risk or danger. We've cleared the scene.
I'm breaking down what we know from police about what happened.
And police tell us this may be the first incident of this kind within the walls of the hospital.
Going in depth, we're breaking down data on shootings inside hospitals across the country.
Rob Reba, I want to start with the good news this morning. We're told the scene is clear, the hospital's back open. Behind me, people going to work and some people leaving after what was probably a terrifying shift for them last night when the hospital was shut down for hours when it was on lockdown, and police were here for hours here blocking off the entrance to the North Hospital. Let's break down exactly what we know so far, and you're going to take a look at some of that video our crews captured on the scene here earlier this morning. But here's what we know. So VCU police received an emergency call about shots fired and an active threat inside the hospital just after midnight. VCU and Richmond police responded immediately to the scene and took one man into custody pretty quickly, but another was found dead in the stairwell.
And we're in a neighborhood right across the tracks from Atlee High School. To put things into perspective, we're at a playground here in the neighborhood. There is a pathway that goes into this wooded area behind me. You can easily get right to the railroad tracks and then cross to go to Atlee High School. Now, Crime Insider sources are saying that the victim is a minor, someone under the age of 18. Hanover County sheriffs have not confirmed that yet at this time. But we did speak to some neighbors who said they worry that this may be a student that may have crossed over the path to go to school.
I live in a townhouse right here by the railroad tracks.
Susan Hart says it's normal for trains to travel past her Hanover County neighborhood, Cool Spring West. But this train, CSX number 781, prompted a 911 call just before 8 a.m. Wednesday morning.
You can see some of the caution tape floating at the front of the engine.
That call came from Buckingham Branch Railroad Crossing, the company advising the train at the time, saying a pedestrian had been hit and killed on the tracks.
It's scary that someone in this town is killing our young men.
Murders that happen down there never solved.
Everybody that they find down there, they find them in the woods.
They're happening back to back.
A lot going on in this town, but don't nobody talk about it.
But what if it was your kid? What if it was your grandson?
When you hear something like that in this area, you go, Nonnenberg? Here?
The whole case is bizarre. I mean, I don't even know where you want to start at.
He got shot in the back, he got dismembered.
Both arms and both legs.
In a shallow grave, he had lye poured on top of him.
This is probably one of the worst homicides, not just in this county, but in the state of Virginia.
What in the world could you do for a person to do that to another person.
17 years old, he didn't deserve this. He was still a kid trying to find his way.
Antonio Rich, his body was actually discovered by a VDOT crew working in the area.
This should have not been his final resting place, on the side of the road in the bushes, like he was nothing.
He was 19 years old, had been shot several times.
You know, I already knew when I opened the door and knew it was them, that it was my son.
El guatemalteco Rolman Valcárcel, quien fuera detenido en julio pasado por...
It made headlines around the world.
Desde Richmond, Virginia.
Across the country.
Tonight, authorities in Richmond, Virginia say it was a tip.
Thwarted a planned mass shooting at Dogwood Dell's July 4th celebration.
2 days after a gunman killed 7 people and injured 48 others at a 4th of July parade outside Chicago,
where a subject who I am referring to as a hero citizen picked up the phone, overheard a conversation that there was a mass shooting being planned here at our 4th of July celebration at the Dale.
Then Richmond Police Chief Gerald Smith announces his officers had prevented the same fate at Richmond's Dogwood Dell Independence Day celebration, with the arrests of non-U.S. citizens Julio Alvarado Dubon and Roman Alberto Valcárcel Ock.
I'm innocent of everything the police accuse me of and what they say about me, because there are lies about me and of Julio. These are things that never, ever in our lives have crossed our minds to do something like this, for which we have simply tried to be here in the United States, working hard and without harming anyone.
Valcárcel has waited 5 months to say those words. He's talking exclusively to CBS 6 in an attempt to fully clear his name and character.
I watched it over and over again because I thought my eyes was tricking me.
Michelle Simpson describes surveillance video that was recorded inside Hopewell's Harry James Elementary School.
That's when I got infuriated.
Footage that she says shows her 8-year-old son being assaulted by a teacher's assistant. It happened August 11th, 2022. As noted in a police incident report, the video appears to show the child backing away when Kevin Johnson strikes him with his hand on the side of his head.
We're spending less time behind that desk and in this studio because our office is out here where we can hear your voice and tell your stories.
Of the countless stories I covered, I couldn't forget Talisha's.
Why is the community perhaps more reluctant today?
People are afraid.
I feel connected to these women, even though it's statues.
Thank you for interviewing me.
You're welcome.
Try to do this, yeah. I might need your heavy-duty tissue, but I'm okay.
This is a powerful moment for Sam Curtin.
I'm so glad you're here.
Because Sam is exactly where he wants to be. But to understand why this place is so important to him, you'll need to learn about one of the most difficult times in his life. Lake Anna is home for Sam.
After all these years, managed to still keep all of my own fingers.
Preparing meals pairs well with the tranquility of the lake.
It is really a way to escape everything else that's going on around you.
H4.
It's where he and his wife Susan play board games to relax.
H5.
And they have a healthy love of competition.
You sunk it.
Yes.
January 31st, 2017 at about 11:30 in the morning.
They would need that competitive spirit when Sam's health took an unexpected turn.
It was one of those moments you won't forget because part of the message was go get your affairs in order.
Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, or IPF, is a cruel, scarring lung disease.
In 2016, I suffered a gunshot wound to the neck. I've always been determined and self-driven. I just trying to let anything stop me, regardless of my circumstances. It's just who I am. I always knew I wanted to go to school. If I didn't have the support and help that I've obtained, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. Yeah, man, it's been a journey. It didn't really hit me until a few days later.
The term viral gets thrown around rather easily, but in the case of Khalil Watson, the numbers bear it out.
I always wanted to impact the world, I just didn't know how I was gonna go about doing so, nor did I expect for it to happen this soon.
Paralyzed after a gunshot wound to the neck 7 years ago, Khalil walked across the graduation stage last month to get his degree from Reynolds Community College using an exoskeleton. Sheltering Arms Institute loaned out the exoskeleton for Khalil's graduation. Their team's been tracking his story. They say it's received more than 330 million impressions worldwide so far.
It definitely feels great knowing that I was able to impact others. Not only did I impact people who are disabled, but I impacted people who are able as well.
It's special because this is where it all started.
At Brunswick High,
Kind of wonder what was the enrollment at this time, too.
learning isn't just relegated to the classroom or computer.
Can't imagine some of the obstacles as well as challenges that they may have faced.
Dr. Ron Thornhill, principal of the school,
This is the class of '64 yearbook.
believes one keepsake
I'm gonna see if I can find Jones.
enlightens as much as any textbook.
I tell you, Greg, it's very special for me to hold it. It's like you're holding history in your hands.
It's a lesson in black and white.
The interesting thing that I found as I looked through this yearbook is that they did not do this to make history or to make a name for themselves, but they were doing it to make a difference.
59 years ago this month, Brunswick County was ground zero in the civil rights movement across Southside Virginia.
This is not only historical, but it set a tone for not only this area, but I think for many rural areas.
In 1964, Brunswick High was finally desegregated a full decade after Brown versus Board of Education, which declared state laws legalizing racial segregation in public schools were unconstitutional.
I'm Florence Stith Jackson, class of 1966, Brunswick High School, Lawrenceville, Virginia.
Florence Stith Jackson is one of the first students who steps forward to attend the all-white Brunswick High School.
I was nervous. I was also excited. I wanted to go.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
They say a good coach can change a game. But a great coach
Y'all got 5 closeouts.
can change a life.
Yeah!
For kids like Jarvis Harris and Zyke Dickerson Brown,
You understand that?
yes, sir. Rob Brandenburg is more than a mentor.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Rob is like a father figure, very funny comedian, loves to hoop, loves to work out.
If you was right there, Kyrie going to here.
Having Rob, it tells me like that he really cares for me, and I have somebody by my side even if I try or if I do something that is not a good choice.
Be quiet when I'm coaching you. You understand that? You're trying to be a good player and you being funny.
His influence in their lives and the lives of many of these young athletes extends well beyond the court.
Don't take it personal, because you my man. But I got to coach you. You understand that?
So when Rob, a former VCU standout and professional player, disappeared without a trace last October.
In Henrico, police are searching for former VCU basketball player Rob Brandenburg.
The uncertainty surrounding his absence was devastating.
I actually broke down and cried because like in my family, everyone that like disappears or passes away, it triggers me. I was like praying to God that hopefully he come back and hopefully he gets stronger.
8 months later, Rob is stronger and he's sharing his story.
I want to be able to use my story to say, like, it's okay. You know, it's okay to talk about what's going on. It's okay to, you know, be weak. It's okay to struggle, like it truly is.
All right, let's check back in now with Zach and the start of hurricane season at the flood wall in Richmond, and we're going to be talking hurricanes for a while.
Yes, we are. It's a long season. Starts today and runs all the way till November 30th. And Richmond is not a coastal town, a good 100 miles away from the Atlantic. But history has shown that we can be impacted in a big way by both wind and particularly rain from hurricanes, tropical storms, and tropical depressions. And that rainfall and the flooding that we see here down in Richmond is the reason that we have the flood wall here in the city. And that's what's behind me here. The flood wall is a massive structure. We can look at that through the drone. We've got 19 different openings or gates, and those are designed to slide closed. They stay open most of the time, but they will slide closed when it looks like we're going to have significant flooding.
Well, those of us who were in Richmond in September of 2003 will never forget the name Isabel. The hurricane did unprecedented damage to our area, knocking down tens of thousands of trees, snapping power poles, and leaving people without electricity for days, even weeks. Let's send it back out to Bill at Bird Park, one of the places hit hardest in Central Virginia. Bill?
No, that's right, Julie. As you said, when it came to tree damage caused by Isabel, this is one of the areas that could have been considered kind of a ground zero. But CBS 6 didn't just have crews covering the storm here in the Richmond area. Our Greg McQuaid reported live from Virginia Beach during the height of Isabel 20 years ago this week. Tonight, Greg and photographer Joe Valdez introduce us to some of our other CBS 6 colleagues who covered Mother Nature's wrath on the coastline.
That quiet before the storm is something I find really fascinating.
Virginia Beach, a sun-drenched destination for tourists and locals alike. But in September of 2003, an unwanted guest just over the horizon was making reservations to crash into the coast.
Oh, it's Hurricane Isabel.
Jimmy Cox, assistant chief engineer at WTVR, and a team of journalists and photographers, including this reporter, are assigned to cover the hurricane along the Atlantic.
You know, and you know the drill. They tell you when the forecast is coming this way, and we would pack up our stuff and go towards where we thought the storm was going to be.
There is nothing that gets us driving quite so fast as a report that there's someone in the water. These people were in the water somewhere between 40 and 50 minutes, lives hanging in the balance. It's extraordinarily gratifying to be able to help someone who is in distress.
Hugs and thank yous like you wouldn't believe. Seeing them walk away is thanks enough.
On April 1st, rescuers faced one of their most challenging calls in a half-century of service.
When I heard people in the water, I dropped everything, jumped in my car, and came.
A 50-foot yacht heading north to New Jersey springs a catastrophic leak. A moment later, the vessel disappears beneath the choppy waves.
There is nothing that gets us driving quite so fast to the boat or in the boat as a report that there's someone in the water.
Rescuers with Smith Point respond immediately as 8 people struggle alone with no one else in sight.
The boat's on the bottom, it's still out there somewhere.
The friends cling to debris and each other, desperate for help.
Final Score Friday, Fridays at 11. Good evening, everyone. Week 9 already of Final Score Friday. Sean and I honored to be joined by the cheerleaders from Armstrong High. Their Wildcats had the week off. They are nice enough to come in and join us on their week off tonight anyway, so thank them for being here. Our game of the week, something of a preliminary playoff game in that the loser wouldn't have their season come to an end, but it'd be an awful lot tougher to make the postseason.
Both Mills Godwin and Douglas Freeman would be in the playoffs as of tonight. The winner would be able to put more distance between themselves and the cutoff spot.
The Final Score Friday Game of the Week is sponsored by Bojangles.
Add to that the fact that this is one of the oldest rivalries in the region. The series has been split over the last 6 regular season meetings. Second quarter, 6-0 Freeman when quarterback Jaden Reese keeps it himself for an 11-yard touchdown. Mavericks up 12-0.
Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead. An amazing performance by this miracle horse.
the greatest racehorse that ever was.
Secretariat is arguably Virginia's greatest athlete.
Oh, the old house, oh man, oh, it was beautiful.
Snapshots of the Meadow Horse Farm remain frozen in black and white.
I used to help cut grass and trim around the old house. It was beautiful.
But Alvin Mines remembers the Virginia landmark.
Yes, a lot of good memories.
Bursting with vibrancy from an early age.
You know, the white fences, you see the horse in the fold, you know, and the paddock and stuff walking all through the green grass. It was a beautiful place, yes.
The man from Caroline County recalls one color standing out from the rest.
When you see the sun just bleed on it, you know, it's like a brightness, you know, like a bronze-like type, you know.
On March 30th, 1970, the historic farm in Doswell was buzzing when a new addition raced into the world.
We went by and seen him as a foal, you know, and how he used to run up and down in the paddock, you know.
The Meadows former employee says Secretariat commanded attention from the very beginning.
So, you know, I figured that, you know, it was something about him.
Alvin and his many relatives who served as stablemen, farmhands, and grooms recognized his potential.
He's a horse like had a mind of his own. What do you want he to do?
We're spending a lot less time behind that desk and in this studio because our office is out here in the community where we can hear your voice and tell your stories.
Janine, you did such a wonderful story last week on that family that lost everything in a fire, but the Red Cross was there.
Come on, girl, let's go.
And it made such an impact, everything that happened afterwards.
Hi, girls. How are you?
Oh,
my
look at
goodness.
these beauties.
So good to see you.
Look at
How
the
y'all
smile.
doing? So we have something at CBS 6 called CBS 6 Gives. And we know that you all obviously recently lost your home. And I know that likely was devastating because you lost everything in your home, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure you knew how much we appreciate you all for your courage and still smiling in spite of everything. So we wanted to give you guys a shopping spree in the world of mirth. I'm so emotional, like seeing them recognize me and then walk up and give me a hug, that in and of itself made my day. But then when their eyes literally lit up when they realized that they were gonna be able to come in here and just have fun and have a shopping spree, I think it just helps me realize that the smallest thing matters.
Like it? Y'all happy?
Yeah.
You enjoy it?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you like the color pink? Is that one of your favorite colors? Please hold
It has a blue.
Did you have a good day today at school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm happy today.
Yes. Why are you happy?
Because of you.
Because of me? Oh, that was sweet. Thank you.
I appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate it. She's happy, look. She's happy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Come out to the CBS 6 Lemonade Stand, July 21st. Help us support children fighting cancer. And don't forget to donate and dunk one of these guys.
Oh, wow! That was close!
Welcome to the RVA Sports Awards, live from the Altria Theater, presented by Rosie's Gaming Emporium and Colonial Downs. Now, your hosts, CBS 6 Sports Director Lane Casadante and Richmond's own Kelly Lemon.